Thank you, Frank, for that. Dr. Ron, okay, Doctor of Popular Entertainment or something. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And Tracy, remarkable words. You just have heard the truth, delivered in a very entertaining, very human way. I'll try to add a couple of thoughts myself, but I will long remember Tracy's words. A lot of wisdom and power there. Frank introduced me when we spoke at 2022. Then, of course, we had the honor last year, and so, Frank and I, we got a streak going. We'll try to keep it going. And thank you, Dean Daly, and the rest of the faculty at the School of Cinematic Arts for having me back. Most of all, congratulations to the class of 2023. Wow. You've done it. You have done it. You earned the degree. Now, I'm told that at your welcome event 2, 4, or more years ago, Dean Daly told you something, told you to look to your right and to look to your left, and that these were going to be the people that you would be working with for the rest of your life. Do you remember that comment? No, it doesn't seem like they did. Anyway, we'll reinforce it. Because it's likely that several of you heard during your time at USC over and over again emphasize the importance of collaboration. And I suspect Dean Daly brought Brian and me here today as evidence of the power of collaboration, and I'm not going to let her down. But before I focus on that important subject, I do want to just make a few other observations that I hope that you'll find useful. First, as thrillingly global as our industry has become, it really remains a community, and a fairly small community. So the reputation that you establish is so vital. You want to be true to yourself. You want to be yourself, but you want to be the very best version of yourself. You want to be a version that people are excited to work with and be in the creative and production trenches with. Your reputation is going to follow you in your business. What you don't want is the following scenario. A couple of people are talking. You're not there. They both know you. One of them has hiring power. The other one brings up your name. The other one goes, or worse, You have to earn that. Don't avoid that through your efforts and your ongoing commitment to what it is that we do. Now next, what you're embarking on, well, it's exciting, it's rewarding, but there is no level you will be working at where the path is easy, as Tracy underlined. It's fraught with frustration and often confusion and compromise. So here's a wish that I have for you. And that is that at every stage of your career, you simply and sincerely and steadfastly show up to make good work. Because in all genres, formats, budget levels, there exists a range of choices, from the pedestrian formulaic options to the fresh and inspired ones. And you know what? The pedestrian path is often pretty damn inviting. It's proven. It feels safe. But elevating the work at hand requires a couple of things: taste, and often just a hell of a lot of effort, and I should add, at times, courage. But here's the thing: that courage and that effort is worth it. To the audience you are serving, the audience that really, really appreciates a good version of whatever kind of story it is that you're a part of telling, believe me, it matters. So go for great. But when circumstances simply demand some kind of a compromise that you and your project can't avoid, don't be crushed by that. I mean, there are limitations. It's part of the process. But recognize it. Don't delude yourself by convincing yourself it's actually better or worse, that it won't matter. Do what you have to do, and then work towards a future where the compromises you make will be fewer. And please don't be persuaded that a film or a TV show or a video game is only as successful as its marketing. You came to this school because you have something to say, and don't back away from that goal, because our industry and our audiences need and deserve you and your inspiration and commitment more than ever. Now, next, I want to share a lesson that I learned. Thank you. I want to share a lesson that I learned from a first assistant director who worked with me on Splash and Cocoon and other projects very, very early in my career. Brian knows him well. His name was Jan Lloyd. Now, Jan was kind of an old hippie, progressive thinker, into things like Tai Chi and macrobiotic food long before any of that was fashionable, which meant that a lot of the crew just, found him flat out weird and annoying. But he was a really good AD and an even better mentor. And one day, as my career was really taking hold, Jan told me, you are going to be successful in your career. You're going to have your dream. And over the years, you're going to find that the most valuable assets are going to be your time and your energy. Now, if you look around you, you're also going to see a lot of super talented individuals who flourish and then begin faltering. And you'll see that along with the very good things that they might be doing, they're also dissipating their energy and robbing themselves of the focus to do what they do best. Now, dissipation doesn't always come in the form of, scandal and overt stupidity. It could be workaholism. It could be a pattern of relationship drama. It could be lousy organization or sleep habits or any number of patterns that limit you from moving forward with true integrity of purpose. And that's probably the advice that has stuck with me most. So I urge you, as Jan urged me, invest your energy wisely in ways that are really worthy of your time and move you toward life and achievements that you authentically want for yourself. Okay, now on to collaboration. Dean Daly was right about that look left, look right point. Yes, Brian and I first saw each other on campus here at USC. Now, what I remember is that Brian had illegally parked his very cool Porsche outside the old cinema building. He remembers that I was this guy wandering around with rubber-soled sandals and a parka, even when it was 98 degrees outside. I was committed to fashion-forward parkas a lot in those days. It was the 70s, come on. And we have now been working together for going on 40 years. And while you were at USC, you were probably forced into collaborations that you weren't always happy about. Production students survived 310, right? Well, in 310, there's always a trio where everybody wants to be the director. I'm sure that you writers didn't always appreciate all of the notes that you got. And just about every video game project has some aspect that feels like herding cats, right? So yes, creating often also means conflict. However, true collaboration isn't about avoiding conflict or seeking only like-minded collaborators. It's about learning how to find collaborators who will elevate your process, who will teach you. And that brings me to my friend Brian. Now, ours is often described as a kind of an odd couple relationship. I've said that myself. I'm the introvert, he's the people person. But we realized very early on that together, we could accomplish a lot. And our personality differences didn't matter. In fact, when combined with respect, they turned out to be a huge asset. Now, long before we had formed a partnership, or even really a real friendship for that matter, we were working together trying to get what would be our first studio movie off the ground, which Brian would produce and I would direct. It was called Night Shift. And we were trying to get, thank you. Okay, so we were trying to get the late, great John Belushi to sign on to star in our film, which would get our movie greenlit. But he would not read the script. We met him, he was very nice to us, but he couldn't get him to read the script. Now, Brian heard that Belushi and Dan Aykroyd, who we also wanted for the movie, were doing pickups for their film neighbors on the Warner Brothers lot where Brian and I shared a one-room office. So Brian convinced me to walk over there, give Belushi the script again, and, ask him to read it. Well, it's not my nature to barge onto a set and hustle, but my collaborator was urging it. I went out of my comfort zone, and I did it. And I gave Belushi the script, and he was super nice about it. He was great. We chatted for about an hour, and now I walked back to the office, and I thought about Brian, who I already knew to be a very high-octane and kind of angsty guy, right? And I just thought he must be just waiting on absolute pins and needles. And when I got there, I could see that he was. And he wanted to know what happened, of course. Now, as soon as I saw his tense little face, I could not help myself. I paused and I said, "Oh, Belushi, well, I had to hit him." Brian went, "What?" I said, "Yeah, he kind of cursed me out, and he threw coffee at me, and I ducked it, and then he kind of shoved me, and what was I supposed to do?" So, Belushi, I popped him one. Now, I thought this prank was, smart ass and hilarious, but Brian, here's what Brian did. He put his head in his hands. He leaned against the wall and kind of slumped to the floor. Instead of being mad or flipping out in some way that I was expecting, he said, "Oh, Ron, I'm so sorry I put you in that position." And I felt terrible. And I also thought, now that is the kind of person you want to be in the trenches with you. Well, Brian has continued to be that brand of partner ever since, and I've tried to do the same for Brian. By the way, Belushi never read the script. Michael Keaton did, and Night Shift became his movie star breakthrough. It was also the first success that launched Brian and I toward forming Imagine and everything that has followed in our lives. So, yes, look to your right, look to your left. Some of these people may help you do your best work, may help you be your best self, and may turn into the kind of friend who factors into your career for decades to come. So, congratulations to you all. And allow me now to introduce that friend that I was talking about, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Brian Grazer.